Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, your go-to source for inside stories, cutting-edge research, and the latest updates in the world of dairy farming. This 38th episode reveals the best phosphorus feeding approach for transition dairy cows. So please grab a glass of milk, sit back, and let's get started with this week's episode.
Have you ever wondered how much phosphorus our dairy cows need during their transition? Phosphorus is not just about nutrition. It is at the heart of sustainable dairy farming. This mineral is vital for cow health and productivity, yet we must balance it with environmental stewardship. The challenge is meeting the high nutritional demands of dairy cows while addressing environmental concerns related to phosphorus. It is a fine line requiring thoughtful alignment of farming practices with eco-friendly policies. Recommended phosphorus levels for transition dairy cows. Dry period. The recommended phosphorus levels range from 0.20 to 0.25% in dry matter. Common practice, however, often sees levels reaching 0.4% and above. This higher level can lead to increased risk of metabolic disturbances. Early lactation. During this period, phosphorus should ideally be between 0.35% and 0.45% as a percentage of dry matter. The amounts can vary widely in practice, leading to potential phosphorus deficiency if cows are underfed.
Understanding phosphorus metabolism in ruminants is like piecing together a complex puzzle that constantly evolves. Thanks to recent research breakthroughs, we now know more than ever. Historically, phosphorus has been considered a critical environmental pollutant. This concern drove a tectonic shift in how we approached feeding ruminants. Imagine the 1970s and 1980s, when we believed these animals barely absorbed plant-based phosphorus. Well, that assumption was turned on its head, leading to updates in recommended phosphorus levels by the Agricultural and Food Research Council, AFRC, in 1991, and further adjustments by the National Research Council, NRC, in 2001. The findings led to official recommendations that addressed different points in a cow's lactation cycle. This move was primarily acknowledged as necessary across the industry. Fast forward to recent years, and we find ourselves amid revelatory insights. We've uncovered that the phosphorus balance in cattle hinges on a network of regulatory mechanisms previously unknown. What's intriguing is that these processes operate independently of calcium regulation, a game changer for how we view phosphorus management during critical periods, like the transition and early lactation. The discovery of endocrine components, such as FGF23, which play a pivotal role in phosphorus homeostasis, adds depth to our understanding. These advancements invite us, as key players in the dairy industry, to rethink traditional feeding strategies. This is not just a suggestion, but a call to action to lead the way in adopting a refined approach that promises both environmental sustainability and the health of our dairy herds.
Regarding the optimal phosphorus levels for transition dairy cows, we are standing at a crossroads, smack in the middle of a long-standing debate. Traditionalists have long argued that failing to meet dietary phosphorus needs poses significant risks, particularly during transition. After all, who could forget the warnings about phosphorus deficiency leading to everything from downer cow syndrome to a sudden drop in milk yield? It has been an overarching concern, a looming specter that justified feeding phosphorus in excess just to be safe. However, hold on to your pitchforks because recent findings are turning that notion on its head. Emerging research now suggests that this old-school thinking might not just be outdated, it could be wrong. Studies indicate that overloading on phosphorus does not prevent, but exacerbates metabolic issues once the cow freshens. In other words, we have been throwing solutions at a problem that did not exist, creating new issues. Sounds radical. As we peel back the layers of this complex issue, we must ask, have we been too cautious to the point of causing more harm than good? What does this mean for your herd's transition period strategy moving forward? It is time to challenge the status quo and embrace a nuanced understanding that could redefine how we approach phosphorus in dairy nutrition. This new understanding opens up a world of possibilities, and it's about time for a change, right?
Understanding phosphorus regulation in cattle has advanced dramatically with recent studies illuminating crucial regulatory pathways. Fibroblast growth factor 23, FGF23, is pivotal in maintaining phosphorus homeostasis. Once thought relevant only to monogastric species, today FGF23 is known to exert significant influence on ruminants too. Recent findings suggest it responds dynamically to alterations in the phosphorus balance, adjusting the metabolism accordingly. Kohler et al., 2021. FGF23 works alongside a network of hormonal and mineral pathways that orchestrate a delicate balance. This regulatory harmony helps to prevent phosphorus overload, which could otherwise lead to detrimental metabolic disturbances. Importantly, studies demonstrate that bone mobilization mechanisms, independent of classical hormones such as parathyroid hormone, are in place to counteract phosphorus deficiency. Coors et al., 2018. This dual pathway regulation has revolutionized our approach, suggesting that the focus should shift from merely supplementing phosphorus to understanding and manipulating these natural homeostatic processes. Integrating this newfound understanding of phosphorus regulation could profoundly change dairy farming. It affects the health and productivity of transition cows. It gives us a greener, economically savvy agricultural blueprint in an age of dwindling resources. As we dig deeper into FGF23 and its allies, we stand on the cusp of more innovative, science-driven nutritional strategies that align with animal health and environmental stewardship.
As we delve deeper into existing feeding practices, a fascinating question emerges. Why are we overfeeding phosphorus during the dry period? This pressing issue demands our attention. The common practice of packing phosphate-rich feed into dry cow rations seems paradoxical, especially since studies indicate this trend could do more harm than good. Overfeeding phosphorus, particularly in the dry period, could exacerbate metabolic disturbances rather than prevent them. However, why exactly are we overdoing it with phosphorus? The reasoning is rooted in attempts to stave off phosphorus deficits postpartum, a period notoriously linked with increased metabolic demands. However, recent findings are reshaping our understanding. Several studies now tell us that excessive phosphorus intake during the dry period does not cushion the dairy cow for early lactation betterment. Instead, it might even spark metabolic disorders like fresh cow diseases. Isn't it high time we reevaluate? The implications are profound. Overloading phosphorus can upset the delicate balance of minerals, notably triggering an imbalance in calcium homeostasis, a crucial element during the transition from pregnancy to lactation. The developing scientific consensus is clear. We might inadvertently set the stage for hypocalcemia by not moderating phosphorus levels in our feeding strategies. This insight isn't just a whisper in the wind. It's backed by pivotal research pointing to a surge in metabolic imbalances due to phosphorus surplus during the dry period. These risks underscore the urgency of reevaluating our current feeding practices. It is becoming apparent that traditional beliefs warrant introspection. Feeding strategies must pivot from adhering to outdated norms to embracing data-driven decisions. After all, the ultimate goal is optimized cow health and productivity. What if achieving this does not involve more phosphorus, but more intelligent phosphorus allocation? As farmers and industry experts, we challenge these standard practices. Let this be a call to scrutinize feeding regimes. After all, the health of our dairy herds hangs in the balance, and there is hope in this new approach.
The phosphorus paradox, balancing the scale during transition stage of lactation. Early dry period. Recommended phosphorus cent DM 0.20-0.25. Stage of lactation, close-up period 3 weeks pre-calving. Recommended phosphorus DM 0.3-0.35. Stage of lactation, fresh cow period, recommended phosphorus 0.4. We have all heard the mantra, more is better. But when it comes to phosphorus during the transition period, is that the case? When we overfeed phosphorus, it only goes to waste. It can lead to significant metabolic disturbances. Studies reveal that excess phosphorus disrupts the delicate calcium balance in fresh cows, potentially setting the stage for hypocalcemia, a condition that could have been easily mitigated with proper regulation. 2000. Conversely, underfeeding phosphorus during this crucial period does not have its pitfalls. Indeed, limiting phosphorus beyond recommended levels during the transition and early lactation phases can lead to many issues. We discuss reduced feed intake, lower milk yield, and increased susceptibility to ailments like ketosis and abomasal displacement, Valken-Sebeck, 1999. Both extremes on the phosphorus spectrum carry their own set of dangers. However, what about intentionally restricting phosphorus during only the dry period? Emerging research suggests it might have a silver lining. Controlled phosphorus supply during the dry period alone can improve the calcium balance postpartum. This prompts a discussion. Could moderation and careful planning be vital to achieving optimal cow's health and productivity? As we navigate the complexities of dairy cow nutrition, it is vital to reconsider traditional approaches. Striking the right balance in phosphorus levels, neither overfeeding nor underfeeding, might be the call to action we need for a healthier, more productive herd.
As we explore the ever-evolving landscape of dairy farming, one thing is specific. The needs of transition cows are still hotly debated. Let us cut to the chase. Can we curb periparturient hypocalcemia by reducing phosphorus intake? It might seem drastic, but hear me out. Our newfound understanding suggests that dialing down phosphorus intake before calving can bolster calcium stability in fresh cows. This approach involves walking a fine line to create just the right balance. Enough calcium, not too much phosphorus. The real kicker is that moderation is vital. Restricting phosphorus too much or too long could lead to unforeseen consequences, especially post-calving. So while this approach is promising, it is not without its headaches. However, here is the rub. Creating a diet with significantly reduced phosphorus is not exactly a walk in the park. It demands precision and creativity. Low phosphorus content in the feed is not just about taking a pair of pruning shears to the mineral content. No, it requires a careful blend of feed ingredients that naturally contain lower phosphorus levels. Moreover, that is where phosphate binders might enter the picture. Like our trusty buffers for acid-base balance, phosphate binders could become essential allies. They offer a unique advantage. Not only do they tackle the dietary phosphorus, but they may also help remove endogenous phosphorus that is leaving the body through saliva by rendering it less absorbable. Still in its infancy, this method holds promise for reformulating rations without sacrificing cow health or productivity. While the path forward may be fraught with challenges, the potential benefits to cow health, not to mention the environmental impacts, are worth exploring. By embracing this strategy, we might redefine what it means to transition cows effectively.
Despite our strides, some critical knowledge gaps are still causing us to scratch our heads. We need to dive deeper into understanding the mechanisms behind phosphorus deficiency symptoms. We assume a lot, but know little. Why do we still have conditions like hemolysis? How can we catch these issues early before they wave a red flag front and center? Furthermore, the industry is desperate for reliable parameters to assess phosphorus status. Blood phosphorus concentration has been the go-to, but it is more like a snapshot. Great for capturing the immediate past, but poor for painting the entire health picture. It reflects diet phosphorus from just hours before, missing the bigger story on whole body reserves, especially when bone mobilization is involved. We are deep in uncharted territory here. Adding another layer of complexity, early lactation phosphorus regulation remains a murky pool of uncertainties. What happens when a cow, already skimping on phosphorus in the dry period, hits the high demands of early lactation? Can it bounce back, or are we setting it up for failure? We have yet to pinpoint how long and severe phosphorus deprivation can be before it harms productivity. What about mixing phosphorus management with other hypocalcemia mitigation strategies like anionic diets or vitamin D? The dynamics of early lactation require our undivided attention and extensive research. We must fill these gaps before, at best, we navigate with a broken compass, risking health and productivity.
Our understanding of phosphorus metabolism in transition dairy cows has evolved significantly. We must adjust our feeding strategies, recognizing that excessive phosphorus consumption can destabilize metabolic health rather than support it. Instead of clinging to outdated practices, we must embrace the evidence-backed approach that advises precise phosphorus restriction during the dry period, balancing this with adequate supply as cows transition into lactation. This new insight encourages us to rethink our feed formulations, potentially adopting innovative solutions like phosphorus binders to maintain this delicate balance. As we digest these findings, reflecting on the broader implications for herd health and productivity is vital. Let us engage in this ongoing conversation. I invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Could this shift in phosphorus management be the key to optimizing dairy operations? Join the discussion or spread the word by sharing this article.
Thank you for tuning in to the Bullvine Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's insightful discussion. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Catch you next time on the Bullvine Podcast, where bovine expertise and community come together.